Brian, thanks for joining today. Good to see you. You were appointed CEO of Fuze earlier this year or end of last year, so congratulations. Um, can you start off by grounding us a bit on Fuze? Really give us a little bit of an overview of who you guys are right now at the moment, what type of clients are a great fit for you. We've got a ton on the phone today. Just give us a little bit of a setup around Fuze for us, please.
Yes, I was glad to do that. And thanks, Ian and Drew, for the invitation today. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you guys and to all the trusted advisors out there as well. So when I took over Fuze, it was actually beginning of December, so it's been, what, 4.5 months? It feels at this point, as you can imagine, like 4.5 years, given all that's gone on in the past few months. But
Yeah.
I made the decision to focus exclusively on enterprise. So we do not sell to SMBs at this point in time. When we built our solution from the ground up, years ago, to focus really exclusively on enterprise, which we define as it's 250 seats and up, 500 seats and up tends to be our sweet spot. We tend to do really well with multinational organizations that have voice and collab requirements across multiple continents and across the globe. So I think in hindsight, it was a great move for us because it allowed us to really prepare ourselves for what came about over the past 45 days and be super responsive to the enterprise customers that have in many situations had to scramble to deal with the new reality here.
Well, okay, great setup. I got a good feeling of where the target is. And I believe you guys have some unique differentiators as well. I saw some recent announcements around integrations with Slack and Teams. Can you expand on that a little bit for us?
Yeah, so one of the things we've been doing is and again, as you move into the larger enterprises, in some cases they want to have a unified solution. In some cases, what they want to do is they want to use best of breed. So we made the decision that if we're going to be successful with these enterprises, we've got to be able to do both. Provide solutions to enterprises that want a single solution for everything, and also work with customers that have Teams. They have Slack. So we worked on integrations to both of those, and we'll continue to do that kind of thing. So I think that gives us the opportunity to move into a situation where a customer may be a hardcore Teams user, but that customer said, well, Teams doesn't really satisfy our global voice requirements, so we still need a separate UCaaS provider. Similarly with Slack, I think as most of Slack focuses on what Slack focuses on. The integration we have with Slack right now allows users of Slack to move into a Fuze voice session seamlessly from an open Slack channel. So that's we do that. We also I contrast that a little bit with our new contact center. So we have a new contact center product that we came out with. Literally, we just announced it about 3 weeks ago. And what we work with in that product is really what we call hidden contact center users within an organization. So we have the opportunity with the Fuze Contact Center and the way we are weaving it throughout our existing platform to really differentiate the product and drastically reduce the barriers of entry for users who would benefit from contact center functionality as part of their daily communication needs, but really don't identify as a typical contact center user. As Mark said, there's no more center in the word contact center. So by making this essentially a virtual product and offer it to our customers, we've seen a great take up and really helped our customers from a productivity standpoint as well there.
Wow, that's interesting. That what you said, hidden contact center users, that's kind of a unique concept. I haven't heard that term before, but I think there's a massive opportunity there. I took a note. We should follow back up on that new product you launched. Sounds pretty exciting. So, we're going to beat the work from home thing on UCaaS to death today, but I also want to change a little bit of the direction and talk about what's next. So let's talk about post-COVID. Let's talk about disaster recovery, security, business continuity. How are you going to address those? Like, how do you extend your value prop beyond just a communication platform to something more? Because the world's going to need all those tools too, and they're going to get them from somebody else or maybe you guys.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think to think about what the world's going to look like post-COVID, I like to reflect back on way back, but pre-COVID. And one of the comments I've made to several people, anybody who will listen, is, can you imagine what would have happened if this COVID situation had arisen 15 years ago? I think the world economy is taking a big hit as it is right now, and that's with the tools we have. But 15 years ago, think about this. I mean, Fuze was around then. It was called thinking phones. I mean, we didn't have any of the technology we have today. Bandwidth to the home was compared to what we have today relatively non-existent. So, I mean, I think it would have been absolutely paralyzing to the world economy if this had happened 15 years ago. So we've certainly gotten ourselves into a much better spot, but it raises a whole host of new issues as well: security, privacy, things like that. You know, from Fuze's perspective, I can only speak from Fuze's perspective. I mean, we were designed from the ground up and purpose-built for the enterprises we've talked about. You know, we view security as a team sport, right? I don't think anybody is going to be 100% secure, and I think if you say you are, you're essentially going to invite people to come in and try to attack you, which we've seen over the past couple of weeks, right? If you're the big guy, people are going to try to attack you. That's just the way it goes. And unfortunately, you know, this pandemic, as is customary anytime there's general public uncertainty and anxiety, you know, introduces a new wave of campaigns that seek to compromise data and profit from the unrest. That's just the way these things seem to work, and it's unfortunate, but that's the way the world operates today. So, you know, from our perspective, you know, we take great pride and trust in transparency. You know, as a member of the Cloud Security Alliance, we post our responses to over 300 different security-related questions to anyone who wants to understand our system. We also took the additional step to have an independent third party validate and certify that particular questionnaire. And similarly, we're also happy to share third-party attestations of our compliance with SOC 1, SOC 2, HIPAA, HITRUST, ISO 27001. So, you know, we've checked all the boxes. We take security really seriously at Fuze. But again, I think we come back to the fact that it is a team sport, and we continue to communicate and be as transparent as we can with our customer base to make sure everybody's aware of where the vulnerabilities may be and what we can all do to make sure we close those holes.
Okay, great. One last question for you. Alex, if you bring that slide back up on the stats, can you double click back on these trends you're seeing with your customer base and how they're using the platform? And is there any learnings we can take from that as both end users and trusted advisors helping these end users?
Yeah, I'll tell you, the one thing that really jumped off the charts for us was the meetings with video, up almost 600%, and that's actually through March 30th. That's well over 600% now. It just continues to skyrocket. One of the things that we've really espoused in dealing with this whole work from home, you know, policy that people are going through is everything has to be video, right? I mean, I was on a call the other day and somebody did not turn their video on, and I just found it totally unsatisfying.
Totally.
You know, you no longer, and I think Vic Verma said it, you know, there's no longer water cooler conversations. There's no longer the casual walk around the office. And I'm a walk around the office guy. Yeah, I love talking to people. So I make it a point now to use video every single call I make. And I think everybody has to do that, and you've got to go above and beyond. And if you want to talk to somebody, don't text them, you know, video call them. Because people want to be engaged. They want to see what's happening. And I think that's really important. I think the other thing that we've really seen here, and again, this is, I think, is a little unusual it's probably particular to Fuze in that because we focus so much on the larger enterprises. We've had a number of big enterprises that have accelerated their deployment. So, you know, it was a great call I got from a CIO in Paris a couple of weeks ago saying it was a 15,000 seat deal we closed in December. And the plan was to deploy all 15,000 by the end of this calendar year. They were going to go office by office and do it rather methodically, as a lot of our customers tend to do. They finished by the end of March, so 9 months early, because he had to scramble to work through this, you know, this company's work from home. And he called me up and said, look, you know, I got to be honest with you. You guys made me a total hero in front of my CEO. If I had not made the choice to go to UCAS back in the fall and actually started the deployment, we would have been dead in the water as a company. So I think that there's a lot of companies out there that are in the same situation. And there are also a lot of companies that haven't yet made that switch that I have to think at this point in time are saying, okay, how do I move really fast? And being able to move fast is really important in this market.
You know, nice. Brian, I appreciate that. And I'm going to step in because I'm going to bring Jay in. And Brian, I think you laid some really cool groundwork that I definitely wanted to talk about today.